Hey and welcome, Miss Kira Speaks. Thank you for clicking on this video. Please do your girl a favor and stick around till the end. Help me get these watch hours up. Hit that subscribe button and go ahead and tell your friends too. And make sure you turn on your notifications. We're here for another episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 15, episode 4, The Buck Stops in Birmingham. So the episode opens with Kenya and Monyetta, and they're working on the choreography for the Magic City Classics. Kenya is performing at halftime, which is sponsored by Kenya Moore Hair Care. And she says that the people love the drum line, Kenya Moore Hair Care. And she's excited that this may mean a viral moment for her company, which is more befitting than the stunt she pulled at Marlo's event. But Kenya is nervous because her performance at BravoCon was, she says she was trying to give legendary ball, but she just didn't nail it. Monyetta tells us that she has a dance troupe, or she had a dance troupe, and she opened for Genuine, Joe, and she danced on stage next to Prince. R.I.P. So Miss Monyetta has all the qualifications and she gets a FaceTime from Roy. You know, Kenya's got to pull up and these two are flirting back and forth and the producers are, asking her what's the 411. And she says that the Yelp reviews were positive, that he came back a 9.6. Very good in bed. I said, okay, Kenya. She says that she's been separated since 2019. Damn. Now, when they're taping this, it's 2022, but even in 2023, these two are still not divorced. So she said she was tired of waiting on the divorce and that she needed to move on. And Monyetta aside, Kenya wants to keep this halftime show a secret from the girls. Now, quick sidebar. How are you guys feeling about Kenya in this Farrah Fawcett moment that she's giving in the confessionals? Get down in the comments and let me know. So we are over at Sonya's house and she's going over her schedule. She's got her sister with her and her mom, and she calls her assistant, other known as her brother-in-law, to go, to get the rundown of all the things that need to be done. She talks about the lines being blurred between family and business, and it's a lot because as she's sitting here on the phone with this man, the sister is looking like, and there's a lot that he hasn't gotten done. Now, last season, Tyrell was a trainer. Now, this season, he wants to be in real estate, but he's working for Sonya as her assistant to build connections, child, I guess. So Sonya tells us that in addition to Mommy Nation, she is an NBC sports analyst, and I was glad that she told us this because I always wondered exactly what it was that Sonya did now that she doesn't run track anymore. She says, there's things that she wants to accomplish as a family before everybody goes their separate ways. And then she takes this as a time to tell her sister that Ross is ready for them to be just them again. Her sister's like, well, let me go ahead and rally up the troops and get on out of here. And Sonya's like, no, I don't really want you to go. And Ross says it has nothing to do with you guys. Now, I was thinking Sonya is really going to be complaining about Ross not being there once she's the only one, her and Deuce, left in that house. And her confessional, because for some reason Sonya's sister and mom get a confessional, she's calling Sonya self-centered and her mother is agreeing. She says Sonya and Ross can move around freely without having to worry about Deuce. And honestly, I thought her sister was ready to go anyway. Now, I'm not sure about her finances, but maybe it's in the way Sonya said it. I'm not too sure. You get down in the comments and let me know what you think about it. Later on in the episode, we see Sonya and she's at a photo shoot and her sister is a no-show. She's sick. And she says since their convo that her sister has been upset and that Tyrell quit. Between Sonya and Sonya's mama, Sir says he is overwhelmed and the mother's wondering why he didn't say anything. And I mean, honestly, why would he? She says that she wanted to extend her blessings to her family. Her dad says he'll pick up the slack. I thought that was so sweet. And she's like, yeah, but You don't know how to work an email or any of those things. So, thanks, but no thanks. So we get Marlo, and she's having a photo shoot with the boys, which I love to see because I just love a good old family photo shoot. We haven't done one in so long. I usually get one with my 2 younger ones for Christmas cards, but as a family, we haven't done that in a while. Anywho, her sister comes along to, help and chit chat. And Marlo starts talking about how she wants to get her record expunged. She says that she can't bear arms. She lost her rights with her charges from back in the day. And she doesn't feel safe ever since the break-in, which is quite understandable. She also says that she's tired of the girls using her past against her and that Courtney is going to try to help her with that. Child, she said Kandi is worldwide, but never helped her get her charges expunged. So Kandi is supposed to be a mind reader, and also you can talk junk about Kandi whenever you want, but you still expect her to help you. Okay, Marlo, you're just a little delusional. So Courtney comes on through, and Marlo thanks her, and in her confessional, Courtney calls herself the real life Olivia Pope. As a crisis manager, I believe that everyone deserves a fresh start. Again, Marlo brings up this nephew and Kandi's restaurant, no flowers, no cards. Bullshit. Marlo wants to know, and she questions, why does Kandi keep having all these shootings? Listen, I like Kandi. I do. I know that she's not perfect. But what I need is when y'all are coming for her is to make the shit make sense. Because y'all are just basically reaching and it just looks tacky as fuck. Courtney says, maybe it's the culture that she creates. And I said, Courtney, shut the fuck up. We see poor Marlo's sister in the background. She's tearing up. Meanwhile, Marlo is saying that her family, Kandi left a bad taste in their mouth. And I was just like, now, was it last season we saw Marlo's mom? She didn't seem to have a sour taste in her mouth. And I didn't hear the sister say anything about it. This is like the first time we're hearing about it, but moving on. Sheree is going to the doctor, the gynecologist, I believe, and surprise, it's not Dr. Jackie or Simone. She is there to talk about her fibroids, which are a common problem in our community. She says that her cycle can be heavy, it can be painful, and it's messing up her love life. So the doctor is telling her that there's different things that they can do, that they can shrink them, and then she get back to work and sex in about 2 to 3 weeks, or they can remove just the fibroids or the fibroids and the uterus. Now, it doesn't look like Sheree is interested in surgery because she does not want to be basically out of commission for 6 weeks. No exercise and no sex, and those are her 2 favorite things to do. So everybody is getting ready for this trip to Birmingham, and we see Kenya and we see Brooklyn, so cute. She's coming along. Kenya's kind of, talking to her assistant, and because, she's got to have everything in order. So there's somebody to take care of Brooklyn while she's, working and playing. She's on the phone, I think FaceTime with Sheree, and we find out that Martell will not be in attendance because he has his kids that weekend. And I said, thank God for small favors. Another Martell free episode. So the ladies are going to meet at Sheree's house instead of Kenya's because it's just easier for everyone. She says she wants to pull off by 10:15. So, Bravo producers, they got to give us timestamps. Sheree pulls up at 10:12, and then Courtney, Sonia, Monietta at 10:30. Kenya is ready to go. Marlo pulls up last, I believe, at 10:37, and Kenya was trying to skirt off without her, because I think it was Sonia was like, well, Marlo's on her way. She's like, we need to leave. But she did not leave Marlo. We find out that Drew isn't coming via Courtney, and Kandi also will not be in attendance. Drew has the flu, and Kandi has a previous engagement. She is on the Ebony Power 100 list, and I say, go ahead, Miss Kandi Burris Tucker. So as they're, on this little bus trip, the ladies are asking what they're in for. And Kenya says, she's going to be in the parade. She don't tell them about the halftime show, but she tells them, she's going to be in the parade. And they're just on this bus making small talk. Sonia tells us that she's going to go home in the morning and then head back in the afternoon to meet up for the game. And I was like, yeah, that's a lot, but go Sonia. And they are headed to a dance class, and they're going to eat and head to the hotel, and then a charity function to raise money for both of the universities. This is what Kenya tells us. So Kenya, I'll just get this out right now. She doesn't give them an itinerary for, I guess they're there for the week in a couple of days. This is basically what she gives them. We'll get into it. Is it actually even this episode? We'll get into it. Actually, I think it's next episode that we'll get into this whole thing of her not giving an itinerary, her not telling them what's going on. But like I said, in the bus, because I didn't pull this from my ass, she said that they were on their way to a dance class, then they would eat, go to the hotel, and then a charity function after. Okay. Kenya and Marlo are both on this bus, just hacking up a lung. And Kenya is bringing up single men, I think. I don't know, something like that. And Sonia gets into Future's baby mama eating the booty like groceries. Sheree says she has never. Kenya, what did you do when you did it? Not Sheree calling Kenya out. Yikes. Candy and her speak on it said they was all being fake classy. But Kenya's like, I was in my 20s. Child, I guess. So they get to the dance studio and they're all about to participate in a bucking class. Kenya and Monietta will be the judges of a buck off, and she gives them a few minutes to rehearse while her and Monietta sneak off to rehearse this choreography for the classics. So when we finally do get to this battle, Kenya, in true Kenya fashion, she dubs Sheree the winner when it clearly should have been Marlo, but Kenya was not about to allow that to happen. So when the ladies go out to eat, Bryce calls Miss Courtney on a FaceTime, and Kenya's like, the only Bryce I know, he was a music guy. He was in a group. That's probably him, Courtney says. Groove Theory? Yup. Kenya's like, oh my God, we did a movie together. They did Twa together. And she says he was stunningly beautiful. So Courtney, she calls him back to have a FaceTime with Kenya like, oh, look who's here. And in the confessional, producers are asking Kenya if she's ever dated him. And Kenya's response, no shade. He was a beautiful man in the 90s. Wow. And I said, I get it. He's not horrible, nor is he ugly. He just, he was fine back then. Let's just put it like that. He was fine. He's not unattractive now, but he was, yes, okay. So they get into what happened after Drew's performance, and Kenya brings up that there was a fight or an argument between Drew and Marlo. You weren't even there, Kenya. Kenya says she spoke to Drew, and Drew said that Marlo was attacking her and standing over her and being aggressive. Marlo says she was not. Now, at first, Marlo was sitting down and Drew was kind of standing up and they were talking. But then when she got up to leave, Marlo is significantly taller than Drew, and she did say, my nephew is that, standing over Drew. So yes, you did stand over her and shout aggressively. So Kenya and Marlo, they go back and forth for a minute, but they have to be downstairs by 7 and it's already 5:30. So when they check in, everybody's looking at their rooms really quickly. Sheree was supposed to get this suite because of the bucking contest, and it is not up to her standards. It's not even really a suite. Marlo also complains about Kenya being a host, and I'm sure I will bring it up in the next episode that I have to get up to you guys soon, but Kenya she's beautiful, but she's a horrible host. Like, she has very high standards, but her as a host, thumbs down, Kenya. So Monietta, she comes in this silver romper, and Kenya's like, that's not appropriate. So she sends her back upstairs to change. Yikes. So Kenya, Sheree, and Courtney, they head out. Kenya says she cannot be late. Monietta, she changes and meets them there at the same damn time. It was pretty funny. She says they were just being petty. So when they walk in, it's clear that Kenya did not really have any idea about this dress code. And it was dull. It was giving me very much a day party, or as Kenya calls it, a cocktail moment. Folks are there. They're asking the girls for selfies. Marlo and Sonia, I think. Yeah, Marlo and Sonia, they finally pull up around 8:45. So Marlo, she orders a bottle and she wants sparklers on the bottle. And then they all get together and they said they're going to go up to, I think it's to the rooftop. I had that in my notes because the view is beautiful. So now they get up there, they're talking and they're dancing. No sooner than they get there, the producers, they pull Kenya to the side and they say that they don't want them anymore, that they're a distraction and that the people are more focused on them than what they're there for. Kenya is embarrassed, but she tells the ladies, like, we could do this at the hotel. Like, we got to go. Like, basically, they've been kicked out. And I think somebody even asked if they were being kicked out. And I said, yep. So Marlo in her confessional says it's karma. By 9:23, they are back at the hotel and Kenya gets out the van and she says she will see them tomorrow morning at the game. Now, should I talk about this now or should I wait till my next recap? I guess I'll just get into it very briefly. The ladies were irritated. Now, they're in the lobby and they feel that there's something happening and that they're being left out, which, I guess, if y'all understand better than I do, then go ahead and put it down in the comments. Marlo says that Kenya is always, she's always just sneaking off. And they, roll back production footage of previous trips. And Kenya kind of being like, a lot of times they say that she does use Brooklyn as a child. Take it however you want. So Sheree says, let's go to her room, which I thought was a really stupid idea. And that was something maybe Sheree and Monyetta, which I don't understand why Kenya is friends with Sheree, but they're friends. But instead, all of a sudden now they're all heading up to her room. And I don't understand why. I'll say this now. If I say it on the next recap, I just say it on the next recap. Y'all are grown women. It's 9:23. Clearly y'all wanted to party or have a good time or do whatever else it was and not go to, to your room and go to bed early. Why couldn't y'all have just done that among you? Why did y'all have to make that a moment where Kenya had to be present as the host to hold your hand? Listen, like I said, Kenya is not a good host. I will say that, but it just didn't make any sense. But wrapping up the episode. So Sheree knocks on the door and I think Monyetta was like, she might be sleeping. I think that's who said it. So then we see Marlo, she runs up and she kicks the door hard and like she's calling Kenya's name. And then we see Sheree and Sheree like runs up and like kicks the door and runs off like giggling like a little schoolgirl. I said, Sheree, you immature as fuck. And then Marlo is knocking again. I'm like, do y'all not get the message? Because for me, like at that point, I would have left. But no, this is Bravo. This is the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So, here we go with the bullshit. We hear Kenya behind the door shout, who the F is banging on my goddamn door? What else did you expect? As she opens the door, Marlo is hollering, Summer! And Kenya's like, what the F is wrong with you? My child is sleeping. And she looks angry, like hell of angry, which I myself would have looked the same way because you should have startled my child and woke him up. And then now we all just got to fight. Kenya slams the door and she calls her a psycho. And Sonia's like, oh, her daughter's in there. Like I said, overall, just a bad idea. Marlo says it's BS and that she needs to get her ass out here and put Brooklyn in another room. Stop being disrespectful with your broke ass, Marlo says. And we hear Kenya saying, I'm calling the effing police as we end. Now, since this is late, I did not have many notes beyond that. The same thing I had in my notes, I already said. Marlo has an absolute nerve. Marlo has an absolute nerve. If you were banging on my door and my child was in there asleep, baby. Exactly what I had in my notes. Said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. And that's exactly why Kenya had that crazy look on her face. Just a stupid idea all around. Probably said that 5 times. Child, another late one. Mission Catch Up continues. Put your thoughts or comments down in the comment section. or just let me know that you stopped by, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. And sidebar, I hope my little pimple patch wasn't too distracting to y'all. Okay, no, peace.